Some years ago, I dared to review the animated series Totally Spies. And I did not have very nice things to say about it. To the point where a few people declared me the worst person ever for criticizing it. As I look back at the show now, I still don't think it's very good. The main characters can still be very annoying, and I have just seen this concept work so much better elsewhere, both in animated and live-action form. However, I will concede that the show has its own following, and I have always said no one has to agree with anything I say in a particular review. I think even the longtime fan who originally wanted me to review it has softened his stance on the show. This was not an easy review for me, especially since it was one of the longest running shows I've ever reviewed at 6 seasons. I had to pick and choose what episodes to watch and definitely glossed over the later seasons to get the review out on time. And I probably didn't research the show as much as I could have. Which is what brings us to the one area of the show I admittedly did not pick up on then and thus isn't talked about in that video. The fetish factor. Now let's be honest. Animation has always been used in some form or fashion to play on what would be called fetishes nowadays. Particularly when it comes to fantastical alterations of the human form. I recall colleagues of mine talking about how almost every cartoon in the 80s seemed to have a shrinking episode. But this show in particular really seemed to become known for putting its main characters through almost every type of body transformation known to man. And I've been told it has helped a lot of people indulge those fetishes in a healthy way, so I guess that's a good thing. However, that still can't excuse when a show's execution to indulge any such fetish is incredibly sloppy. Which brings us to this episode, Attack of the 50-Foot Mandy. Now, fair warning, because this episode has Mandy in the title, it's already playing behind the 8 ball in my view. I made no bones that Mandy was one of my least favorite characters, just for how much of a stereotypical alpha bitch she was. I directly compared her to Bonnie from Kim Possible, and how the latter was at least a mean girl who never delved straight into villain territory, which was a nice change of pace. Somehow I doubt that's what I'm going to get here, but let's get started. The episode begins in prison, where the night guard discovers a teddy bear that is apparently contraband, so he throws it out. Only for it to be revealed someone was hiding inside it. This is Diminutive Smalls.
What kind of stupid name is that?
Who was previously in an episode where he and his siblings tried to shrink the world to fit their own size. And we never see those siblings here because I guess there's no honor among family thieves. Wait, why didn't the guard notice that the teddy bear had to have been noticeably heavier than it should have? A foot-tall human being should still add considerably more weight there. We then sadly cut to the Spies, as Sam and Alex's channel surfing is interrupted by an earthquake. Oh no, it's just Clover being the worst tap dancer in the world. She's trying to find her talent for the upcoming Miss Beverly Hills contest. Clover, let me just say your chances of winning a beauty pageant in Beverly Hills aren't good unless you're willing to do some augmentation between your belly and your big mouth. Surprisingly, it looks like breast expansion was one topic this show never dared go into. Apparently, Totally Spies still had more taste than brace face. Clover goes to register for the pageant, and of course, Mandy is there to register as well.
I don't know why you girls are even wasting your time when I'm obviously going to win.
Tell you what, man, I'll be nice when I win. I'll let you hold my flowers while I put on my pink victory tiara.
Oh, I know what all of you are hoping for, and if anything else, we will see that later. Clover goes to the spa to try and get freshened for the pageant, but while she doesn't notice that Smalls followed her down there, she does notice that Mandy is there.
Someone is in my machine! This is an outrage! I made reservations like hours ago!
I'm sorry, miss. We have another spot here.
So because Mandy left her bag next to the machine Clover is in, Smalls assumes Clover is in the machine Mandy is in, so it's there he enacts his evil scheme.
I may be small, but let's see how you like being really, really tall.
Yeah, I'll get to this plan later on. And sadly, that's not even the worst he has in this episode. Anyway, Clover shows up to school the next day looking prettier, I suppose. Only for Mandy to show up looking taller somehow. And then she proceeds to beat the Spies' asses in volleyball. Because getting taller automatically makes you more talented in sports, apparently. Before Jerry contacts them via volleyball to tell them 2 girls in the area have gone missing. Huh, I guess by season 4, Jerry learned to not just abduct his subordinates via traps set up around the world. The Spies recognize the missing girls as pageant contestants, so after Clover has to be Clover and ask if they could hold off so she has less competition, she's supposed to be the good one compared to Mandy, right? They decide the first job is to watch out for the remaining contestants who all hang out at the Grove. Cue them getting the big shocker.
Help! Help!
But get this. The Spies don't realize it's Mandy until they analyze a huge strand of her hair. Because, you know, it was so hard to recognize her in her present condition. They investigate Mandy's spa machine, find the chip, and Jerry deduces it's a maximizer chip designed to make things bigger, including Mandy's bad attitude to supposedly explain why she's gone all kaiju and is kidnapping the other girls. This is where Smalls finds out he screwed up. Wait, what was he still doing in the spa? And decides to do the job himself with his maximizer ray. Then we get this joke where Smalls still weighs so much that he causes the grate he's sitting on to fall open. Again, how did that guard not discover something was wrong with that teddy bear? But here's where we get to the biggest problem with the episode, no pun intended. Smalls developed technology to make things bigger rather than smaller, basically ripping off the plot of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, and instead of using it to make himself bigger and wreak untold havoc on the world, his plan is to use it on one of the spies that thwarted him before because that is somehow enacting revenge? In what world does this make any sense at all? The fact that he and his siblings got shrunk down to even smaller than they already were at the end of the last episode would make you think that using a growth ray to at least fix himself would be his first priority. And it was Sam who actually foiled the Smalls plan in the end last time, so why is he wanting revenge on Clover? You know what makes this dumber? There was an episode of Stripperella that had almost the exact same villain with the exact same plan as Diminutive Smalls in that earlier episode. But in that case, Stripperella actually called him out on his plan, saying, wouldn't it make more sense to make yourself bigger instead of everyone else smaller? And the villain actually decided that was a better idea later in the same episode. Stripperella actually made a villain smarter than a similar type made by Totally Spies. You have to try in order to make that show look good. The Spies naturally find the girls being held at Mandy's house, but of course Mandy ends up there as well, now even bigger, and throws them into the house as well. However, Clover figures they can escape by insulting Mandy. And yeah, it works. Congrats! They finally found one thing Clover is good for. But that's when Smalls shows up in a mini-copter. And he just has to say this.
You grow, girl.
Excuse me a moment. Ow, ow, ow! I'll fix the drywall and go to the hospital after the review. And again, how does this make any sense? With Mandy now in her rage-filled gargantua condition, Smalls essentially has a living weapon of mass destruction he could use to take out the Spies and again wreak havoc on the world. It would make so much more sense if the Spies found a way to get that ray from Smalls and then Clover would use it on herself in order to combat Mandy. Smalls just essentially did that job for them. Top notch, guy! Now, for everything I've said about this episode and how Smalls' plan makes no sense in any way, shape, or form, at least it's built up to the right climax. Clover and Mandy in a knockdown, drag-out catfight as giantesses smashing everything in their path. This is what anyone who wanted an episode like this wanted to see, and the episode does deliver. It definitely delivers more than that stupid movie Attack of the 60-Foot Centerfolds. What? A friend of mine told me about that movie. Sam is able to take down Smalls using the sticky goo hairspray Jerry gave them, and thus gets hold of the Maximizer and uses it to eventually return Clover and Mandy to normal. So, once more, it's Sam that thwarts Smalls' plan. Maybe go after the redhead next time, dude. Jerry arrives to take Smalls back into custody, as well as Mandy, so he can wipe her mind of everything that just happened. Because, as Identity Crisis told us, mind wiping is totally fine when the heroes do it. And the episode ends with the winner of the Miss Beverly Hills pageant being... Gloria! This was definitely one of the most poorly thought out episodes of any show, even this one, that I've ever seen. It was clearly written by someone who wanted to see Clover and her nemesis go after each other like Godzilla and King Kong, but absolutely didn't think the whole way through and how they would get to that point. It's really bad when the two most significant things I can say are that Stripperella did this villain plot better, but at least the episode did the big fight better than a terrible cheesecake movie from the 90s, which I have never seen before. I don't have any fetish issues!